It's always nice to see companies break out of their comfort zone and try something new and kind of outlandish, which is why I'm really glad we just got to play with Vivo's Apex full view smartphone concept. Let's take a closer look. So at this year's MWC, I'm getting the impression that a lot of the really cool phones are actually kind of strange. Sony has its rumbly video game style sound feature. The Samsung Galaxy S9 will do weirdo AR emojis. And then there's this, the Vivo Apex full view concept phone. Yes, it's a concept, which means there's a very good chance you'll never actually see this on store shelves. And that's actually sort of a shame because this is a very clever, technically well-executed machine. I mean, first off, just look at the screen. This is a 5.99, basically 6-inch display, and there's basically no bezel running around it. Around the top and sides of the bezels come in at a little over 1 millimeter thick, and down here where it's a little bit thicker, that's closer to 4 millimeters thick. Vivo says that if it were to get that bottom bezel down to the slimness of the rest of the bezels, we'd be looking at well over 90% screen to body ratio, which is frankly kind of incredible. And it shows this is the closest thing to a truly full screen phone I've seen in quite some time, maybe ever at all, actually. That's not where the wild stuff ends. If you remember Vivo's appearance at CES, it was to show off their in-display fingerprint sensor, which was a first in any smartphone in the world at the time, and it's back, sort of. We've set it up with my fingerprint, and it does seem to work okay most of the time. It's a little hit or miss, but I think that's probably fair given this thing is a demo that may never see the light of day commercially. But what's cool is instead of having just one spot on the screen that you use to unlock with your fingerprint, now there's a zone that takes up about 20 to 25% of the screen. So what's really cool about that is if you were to have this phone and use it, you can pull it out of your pocket and not even really worry about where you're putting your finger. As long as it's in that sweet zone, it'll still unlock just fine. Or it should, once you go kind of make sure the ultrasound sensor beneath the screen that's doing the identification is tuned to be more accurate. Beyond that, there is one more really wild thing you should know about this concept phone. As you can see, there's really no space up at the top for a traditional speaker or a selfie camera, and obviously those are things we cannot live without. If you fire up the camera though and switch into selfie mode, boom, an 8-megapixel camera rises up from the body of the phone. The whole thing takes under a second, or so Vivo says. I don't have a stopwatch on me to check that for myself, but it is remarkably fast, and I gotta tell you, selfie quality isn't terrible either, considering this is a thing that's just going to slide right back into the body of the phone. Since there is no traditional earpiece, Vivo has actually cooked up a way with an exciter beneath the display to turn the screen itself into a speaker, and it actually works pretty well too. You put it up to your face and have a conversation as normal. I tried it with a canned demo call that actually sounded quite good, and strangely enough, I could still hear it even when I started to pull the phone away from my face. So in terms of performance between this and a traditional earpiece, there isn't really a huge difference. It did sound a little echoey though, but I don't know if that's because the phone itself is maybe not quite ready for consumption or because I was in a weird meeting room. Anyway, there are a lot of really weird, really interesting things going on in here, and I'm glad that somewhere out in the mobile industry is taking the time to do the weird stuff just to see what works and what doesn't, because that's what ultimately pushes the whole industry forward. For more thoughts about Vivo's concept phone and really everything that's happening at Mobile World Congress 2018,